lame, letdown, shaking our heads at Apple. Hi, it's Dave Graveline. Coming up on Into Tomorrow, we'll tell you why Apple iPhone fans are having the worst week ever. That's all next on Into Tomorrow, right here on the Advanced Media Network. As we discuss the big, quote-unquote, I'm using air quotes for the big news from Apple. I think in many cases, sort of a letdown. A lot of people are saying, that's it?
It's just a big yawn.
A big yawn.
It was overhyped.
Yeah. Well, but wait, who did the overhyping? Apple pretty much said, let's just talk iPhone. And that's all they said.
Well, let's just... okay, what we need to do is let's lay out the facts for people before we give our opinion. So the facts are what? iDork.
Well, it's relatively a new, old iPhone 4.
A new, old iPhone 4. Gotcha.
It's got
S
the same
as
design.
in super.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it super.
That's right.
Or Psi.
Apple had their press conference where everybody expected them to launch the iPhone 5, and they didn't. Instead, they launched the iPhone 4S. As in, we had the 3G once, now the 3GS, then they went to the 4. The iPhone 4S looks exactly like the iPhone 4 on the outside. On the inside, it's kind of all new.
It
Look,
is.
we have one.
Well, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
if you hold it, look, this is an iPhone 4S.
Wow,
Right.
the first one, because everybody else is only showing pictures. We're showing one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's your regular white
Well,
iPhone.
But
Yeah.
on the inside, it's got the A5 dual-core processor, which is the same as in the iPad 2.
Exactly.
Right.
It has graphics improvements, allegedly resulting in 7 times greater graphics performance. It has an 8-megapixel camera that's capable of shooting 1080p video.
Yes, which right now the iPhone 4 only does 720p.
Right.
Well, and then there's
And
always...
it's 5 megapixels for stills.
Yes.
Correct. And there's always the argument that we hear regularly, can you tell the difference, especially on a phone, of high-definition video between 720p and 1080p?
Sure.
Yeah, you can.
Sure you can.
Yes, you can.
Most people, I think, are like, oh, that's nice video.
I
When was the last time you
adequate.
shot video on
Yeah.
your Android?
When your car burned.
yes.
Okay, did you even
And
post it?
those flames really looked good in high def.
But the picture quality between an 8-megapixel and 5-megapixel camera typically is something that you can tell. A lot of times you can't with like an iPhone because the iPhone had that coloring problem on it,
Right.
the still pictures
Especially
and
when you
whatnot.
use the flash.
But they supposedly, hopefully, we'll fix that in a new one. The other thing that's fixed, allegedly, is the antenna problem. You can no longer give it the grip of death.
Yeah, that's what they say. We'll have
They
to
say they
see
have
how it is.
software inside of it that can detect how you're holding the phone, and I guess use the uncovered parts of the antenna. I don't know how that is. But the big thing for me is that this was a public relations disaster that didn't have to be. If Apple had changed anything at all visual about the phone, changed the color of the case, changed the way the antenna looked, did anything to it visually, just a slight thing, and then said it was the iPhone 5, the faithful would be happy. This would be a non-story. But instead, they're practically apologizing for it, and the tech world is disappointed. The stock price went down, and everybody's talking about how it's a big letdown and everything else. If they had called it the iPhone 5 and made it look different at all, the fact is, it's really pretty different on the inside.
You know what? If the iPod Touch was called the iPhone 5, that would make sense because it's so thin. People were expecting a thinner iPhone, I think, with the new design.
Yes.
Nobody used it to make phone calls anyway, so nobody would have known the difference if they only had the iPod Touch.
Yeah, if the iPod Touch did texting and everything else except make phone calls that we want, and it does.
Well, it does with
can,
apps.
Exactly,
Especially
with apps.
with iMessage on the new iOS 5.
Speaking of apps, Chris brought up the most important point about this new Siri. Which
Right.
everybody's like, oh,
Yes,
that's
the voice
exciting.
assistant.
The voice assistant, which is pretty cool. However, they've had it.
Right. Well, it was developed by a company that they acquired about a year ago, and it's always been an app that was available in the App Store, so anybody can use it.
Until now.
Until now, they have yanked the Siri app from the Apple Store, so the only way you can get it is now with the new iPhone, the new old iPhone.
But it's really cool. The
And,
demo's
however, iOS 5, which is coming out and will run on the 4 and the 3GS, they've already announced that iOS 5 will not support the voice assistant on the older phone.
awesome. Correct. Only
So
on
the,
the iPhone 4S.
so the app that you used to have for the older phone, people will no longer be able to get. You have to buy a 4S.
But the iPad 2 also has that A5 chip, and they're saying that
Yeah, but
it
we're
can be on
talking
the
about a
iPad 2.
phone today.
Yes.
The tablet, you know.
But if you have an iPad 2, you'll get Siri.
Okay.
Great. And do what with it?
Yeah, exactly.
You can still work, especially if you
guess
have the 3G version.
I could say, call Rob, and the iPad will go, what the hell are you talking about?
You know what would be awesome? There are some people that have been able to install their iPad in their dash and their cars, or especially if you have a SUV or a truck.
Right.
If you have a
6 or
3G
7
iPad
people.
2, and then you have Siri, I think that would make sense.
The other thing is, of course, the other parts of the announcement that were big is that the iPhone 4 isn't going away. It's going to be $99.
And black only.
And the iPhone 3GS is not going away. That thing's still going to be around for free.
For
Yes.
free. Okay,
With
you got to
two-year
give them
contract.
that. 2-year contract with AT&T or
Right.
any of the other carriers, or just AT&T?
Well, think about it. It's a 3GS. It can't run on
it's
anybody but
only
AT&T. So it's going to drive all the frugal buyers to AT&T.
Well, then you're stuck on AT&T.
Right. Because that's the only
For
place you can
2 years.
activate it. Now, but what I want to know is, does that mean they're going to make new 3GS phones? Or are all of them refurbs? Are they still making it?
Good question.
You know, and then why keep the iPhone 4 around at $99? If you're going to give the 3GS away for free, and the 4, I mean, now they've got now they have a massive inventory problem. They've got 4 phones. We thought they were going to have one phone. They were going to come out with a world phone, and they did. The iPhone 5 will run on all the networks,
4S,
including Sprint. I'm sorry. You know, the funny thing is, but they came. This world phone, the world phone thing is nice because it's one inventory item for all the carriers, and that's brilliant. That's
Including Sprint.
Including Sprint.
Yep, now
Yes.
Sprint's in the
A
game.
$20 billion boondoggle.
Yeah.
But the fact is that now they still have the 4, and if they're going to sell the 4 for $99, that means they're keeping the AT&T version and the Verizon version around, and we've got the 3GS around. Apple has created an inventory nightmare for themselves.
And of course, a lot of people expected some kind of 4G, and while it'll work on the AT&T, the HSPA Plus, it is not a 4G
Right.
No, it's not.
Not close.
Exactly. Not
to
a 4G phone.
which means, I think, they weren't ready yet for the iPhone 5, because if they introduced it, and we've talked about this for months, without it being a true 4G, not AT&T's 4G, but a real 4G with a capital G, they couldn't possibly bring it out until the iPhone 5, if there's going to be one, is ready. I think now with all this hype, they're going to skip 5 and just go to 6 or something.
Well, you know, because obviously they need to go 2 better.
So should you upgrade? Is it worth getting the iPhone 4S? If you have a 3G, 3GS right now, think about it. We'll tell you next on Into Tomorrow.
Well, we'll go to the iDork first for the first answer. And is it worth it?
You know what? If you have a 3G and you haven't upgraded to the iPhone 4, then I think you should upgrade to the 4S. Because if you're expecting an iPhone 5, I don't think Apple will actually release an iPhone 5 next summer. It may be later in the year, and by then you may be eligible for a discounted upgrade.
So you're thinking more than a year from now before we'd see, likely, another iteration of the iPhone.
Yeah, a whole new version of it, a new design. I say probably late like next year.
I think that the S on iPhone stands for "we're sorry." iPhone 4, sorry. You know, honestly, it comes down to you're not getting a phone that's dramatically different. Okay, you're getting a phone. It's not lighter. It's not thinner. It doesn't feel different. It doesn't look different. There's no wow factor. You can't look at it and say, "Is that a 4S?" You know.
Right.
Whereas opposed to the 3GS. Did that look dramatically different than the 3G? I don't think it did. It looked about the same again.
I'm trying to think back.
I think it's
Yeah,
about, I think
about
it's pretty much the same. And I think that that's what we've seen from Apple is that they stick an S on it when they change the insides,
Right.
but they don't change the way the phone looks.
Well, it did give you video recording, which the 3G didn't.
But that's a feature, didn't make the phone look different. And in this case, you get better video recording, better camera, faster processor, more internal storage, all that
Siri.
other stuff. You get Siri, but nothing that looks
like a new phone.
like a new phone. And so Apple is not going to call it an iPhone 5 until they make it look like a new phone. But my point is that because of that, and Apple products, let's be honest, Apple products are as much about the wow factor and the I've got the money to spend on Apple products, and I'm one of the cool kids. I'm an iDork like Rob, you know, that kind of thing. I'm young and I'm hip and I use an iPhone, you know.
I drink the Kool-Aid.
So, but the point is that that's been taken away from them with the 4S. And I think that people who are considering should they upgrade or not should ask themselves, am I running out of storage? Am I trying to shoot videos and take pictures that I'm not happy with the quality of? Do I feel like my phone is sluggish and it responds too slow? For a lot of people, they're going to be, no, it's fast enough, and I don't really take a lot of pictures with it, and it holds everything I want to put on it. And I think that's going to be a much larger... You're looking at it through the eyes of an iDork. You're like,
No, but
Apple's
wait,
coming with a
listen.
new product, I gotta have it.
No, but listen, there's people with the 3G that their text messages are so slow because of the new features, the upgrading to iPhone 4.3 and that kind of thing. it slows down your phone, and you're complaining about it. Do something now that there's a faster iPhone available.
Well, but
upgrade to it if you can afford it.
But if I've stuck with a 3G this long, why wouldn't I just go in and get a 3GS for free and solve my speed problem?
It's not worth it. Just go to the latest version.
You're right, it's not worth it. I have the perfect solution. Do what Mark and I do. Get an Android.
No.
Now, Chris,
No.
Chris, which iPhone do you carry? Which one does your wife carry? Are you guys going to race out? Pre-orders, by the way, are being taken now. The new phones will be available on October 14th. So, are you going to race to get one?
No.
No.
That's
the easy answer.
I got the iPhone 4. My wife's got the iPhone 3GS, and our daughter has the iPhone 3G. I don't think any of us really are in a hurry to upgrade. I don't know that the changes for things that we do are enough to make us run out and do it. You know, we wait another year.
If it were the 5 and on a real 4G network like Verizon, for example, maybe you'd be thinking differently?
Yeah, you know, and I was going back to the different versions that they've come out, and it's been about a year in between each phone. So we'll wait another year. You know, there's no point in signing a 2-year contract now, and then in a year when it comes out, then we have no choice. We can't upgrade.
So what our conclusion is...
Oh, so then the S stands for screwed.
No,
exactly.
Well, I think that what our consensus is, except perhaps for Rob, is that the iPhone 4S is a much better iPhone 4. It is a much better iPhone 4. It's upgraded, improved in every way. Is it compelling? Is it a compelling product that you have to have? The answer to that is no. I would say it's not compelling. I would say that as a practical decision, if it makes sense for you, upgrade. But it's not like you got to look at it and go, oh man, I got to have that.
And see, I went from a 3G to a 4. I never got the 3GS, so that's why I'm still debating whether or not I should get it. But I'm leaning towards yes.
All right.
If I sell my iPhone 4, I will get the iPhone 4S.
All right. Well, we want to know what our audience thinks. Are you going to queue up to get the 4S? It could happen. That S could mean standing in line. I don't know. I mean,